a neighbor full of hate, a teenager just trying to live his life, and a twist that left everyone speechless. It was supposed to be an ordinary day for 17-year-old Jordan. But when a bitter neighbor decided to pick a fight, everything changed. What this man didn't know was that Jordan wasn't just any kid, he was the mayor's son. This is the story of how one act of hate unraveled in the most shocking way. Have you ever been falsely accused or felt like no one believed you? Share your story in the comments below. We'd love to hear how you overcame it. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories. Jordan was an honor roll student and athlete, known for his respectful nature and kind heart. His family had recently moved into a new neighborhood, a suburban area, where they were one of the few black families. From the moment they arrived, their next-door neighbor, Mr. Benson, made his hostility clear. He'd glare at them as they unpacked their belongings and complain loudly about the neighborhood changing. Jordan, determined not to let Benson's behavior bother him, kept his distance. But one day, as Jordan was playing basketball in his driveway, the tension boiled over. "Hey, keep it down!" Benson barked, stepping out of his house. Jordan paused, confused. "I am just shooting hoops. I am not being loud." Benson's face reddened. "I don't care. Go play somewhere else. You people don't belong here." Jordan's heart sank. He had heard whispers of racism before, but this was the first time he experienced it so directly. "Still," he calmly replied, "I have every right to be here, sir." But Benson wasn't finished. He marched up to the edge of the driveway, his tone growing more aggressive. "If I see you causing trouble, I'll make sure you regret it." Unbeknownst to Benson, someone was watching the entire exchange from inside Jordan's house. His father, Mayor Anthony Harris. That evening, Mayor Harris called Jordan into the living room. "I saw what happened today," he said, his voice calm but firm. Jordan sighed. "Dad, it's fine. I didn't want to make it a big deal." But Harris shook his head. "It is a big deal. People like him think they can get away with this because no one holds them accountable. That ends now." The next day, Mayor Harris decided to address the issue head-on. He visited Benson's house, knocking firmly on the door. When Benson opened it and saw Harris standing there, he looked annoyed. "What do you want?" he snapped. Harris didn't flinch. "I am Anthony Harris, Jordan's father. I understand you had some issues with my son yesterday." Benson smirked. "Oh, so you are the one teaching him to disrespect his elders?" Harris took a deep breath, maintaining his composure. "No, I am teaching him to stand up for himself. And as the mayor of this city, I am also here to remind you that threatening a minor is a serious offense." Benson's smirk vanished. "The mayor?" he repeated, his voice faltering. Harris nodded. "That's right, and I expect you to treat my son and every other resident in this neighborhood with respect." Word of the confrontation spread like wildfire, sparking conversations that had been avoided for years. Neighbors who once kept quiet about Benson's actions suddenly found their voices. Mrs. Carter, who had lived on the block for decades, shared how Benson had made her life a nightmare with his constant snide remarks and intimidating behavior. She admitted she'd stayed silent out of fear of making things worse for her family. Another neighbor, Mr. Lopez, came forward, describing how Benson had once called the homeowners association on him over a non-existent property violation, simply because he didn't like the way Lopez's family changed the neighborhood. Others began recounting similar incidents, children being told they didn't belong, baseless accusations, and a general air of hostility that Benson had spread for years. The stories painted a clear picture. This wasn't an isolated incident. Benson's behavior had been a source of pain for many, but no one had felt empowered to confront him until now. Mayor Harris, fueled by the stories of his neighbors and his personal determination to protect his son, took swift action. He filed an official complaint against Benson, citing not just his harassment of Jordan, but the pattern of behavior that had come to light. Then, he organized a community meeting to address the broader issue of racism and harassment that had been simmering under the surface for far too long. The meeting was held at the local community center, and nearly every household in the neighborhood showed up. People filled the room, their faces a mix of frustration, hope, and determination. When Mayor Harris stepped up to speak, the room fell silent. "This isn't just about my son," he began, his voice steady but full of emotion. "What happened to Jordan was wrong. But it's not the only wrong that's happened here. We've all heard the stories tonight. Stories of fear, of division, of people made to feel like they don't belong in the very place they call home. This stops now." Applause erupted, but Harris held up a hand to quiet the crowd. "This isn't just about pointing fingers," he continued. "It's about making things right. It's about creating a community where every single person feels safe, respected, and welcome, no matter where they come from, what they look like, or what they believe." Benson sat in the back, his face flushed as he realized the spotlight was firmly on him. The weight of the public's anger and disappointment was impossible to ignore. When the mayor invited him to speak, the room went quiet again. Slowly, Benson stood. His usual air of arrogance was gone, replaced by something that resembled shame. In a halting voice, he addressed the crowd. I've made mistakes," he admitted. "I let my biases cloud my judgment, and I know I've hurt people. For that, I am sorry." He turned to where Jordan sat with his parents. "Jordan, I owe you an apology. I was wrong, and I hope you can forgive me." Jordan didn't respond right away, but his father did. "Apologies are a start," Mayor Harris said firmly, "but actions speak louder. Let's see what you do next." The meeting ended with a sense of cautious optimism. For the first time in years, the community felt like it had a chance to move forward together. Benson's behavior changed drastically after the incident. While he kept a low profile, he no longer targeted Jordan or anyone else in the neighborhood. Jordan, on the other hand, became a local symbol of resilience. His calm response to Benson's threats inspired others to stand up against discrimination. Mayor Harris continued to advocate for inclusivity, implementing programs to promote diversity and educate residents about the importance of equality. The incident brought the community closer together. Neighbors who had never spoken to each other began forming connections, united by a shared goal of making their neighborhood a better place. The story also gained national attention, sparking conversations about the importance of addressing racism in everyday interactions. Jordan's story teaches us the importance of standing up to hate with courage and composure. It's a reminder that change begins at home, in our communities, and with how we treat one another. Mayor Harris's actions show that leadership isn't just about holding a title, it's about using your platform to protect and uplift others. Subscribe for more stories about resilience and justice, and let's work together to create a world where everyone feels valued.